So what actually separates the 1% from everyone else? A lot of times it's how they create their vision and how they bring their vision to reality. Well, in this video, we're going to teach you how to bring your vision to reality. As we begin to look at creating a vision for your life, I like to think of it in terms of vision boards. I like to think of getting the imagery and the sights and the sounds and the feeling that I need to help draw me in. All right? So, in just a second, I'm going to take you behind the scenes and I'm going to show you how to actually create a vision board. But for the time being, I want you to remember, we've got 8 specific areas of life that are very important to our overall future. We can't focus just on one area or you're going to end up having a crumbling house, so to speak. Okay? We have the foundational 4, your financial life, your physical life, your overall health, and your emotional life, which covers everything from your limiting beliefs to your empowering beliefs and everything in between. Your spiritual life, your overall resilience and things. Next, we're going to the structural. Remember, the foundational 4 obviously support the structural 4. Again, relational, personal growth, professional, and life impact. Now, we want to hold all of these 8 areas at equal value as we start out and set out to create our overall vision board. So, join me behind the computer real fast as we walk through how to create your vision for your life.
Hey guys, so as promised, I want to go ahead and try to break into how to do a vision board basics. Now, your vision board does not have to look necessarily like mine per se. I will tell you that the cleaner and the neater it is, the easier it is to gain inspiration, motivation, and then some traction from, because the brain needs clarity. Now, I will be the first to tell you, I don't necessarily believe in the law of attraction, or at least not in the currently taught form. Instead, I believe that you cannot actually achieve a vision that you can't formally see, which is why vision boards are so powerful. The reality is we have to be able to create a vision board. Now, why do we need to create a vision board? Well, one, we need to understand how the human brain works. The way the brain works is the brain likes questions. Actually, it likes to solve questions. So as you begin to shape your vision, you begin to create a picture. The brain likes images and equates images to learning. No image can be too subtle or too vibrant, but we all need images. It's exactly how you actually learn the alphabet. Okay, it's exactly how you learn what color was what. You were given a piece of information and then you had a matching image beside of it. So here's what we need to do as we begin to dig into this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take the time to break down how I personally do vision boards. Okay, in hopes that it will inspire you to be able to do it in your own format. Some of you guys and gals are going to be very succinct in how you look at things. Some of you are going to be very creative in how you look at things. You know, I like to give this example. When I was dating my wife, we both had a list of the person that we wanted to marry. Mine was in a very organized, very detailed, very checklist fashion. Hers was in a very vibrant and beautiful fashion. Okay. But by actually taking the time to create your vision board, what you are actually doing is you are telling your brain what success looks like. It's the same as equating a color to an actual image of a color. So that's how you know the color blue is this shade of blue, for example. All right. I hope that started making a little sense. Essentially, you are actually programming your brain to determine that this is successful behavior or a successful outcome. But as a result, we need to also consider a couple other things. All right. There are vision board guiding principles that I need you to understand. All right. So listen up and listen clearly. Number 1, every single image or every single illustration, icon, any kind of thing that's going to create an image for the brain to adapt to or attract to must elicit a powerful positive emotion. It must elicit a powerful positive emotion. Why? Because if it doesn't elicit a powerful positive emotion, what happens is that image becomes irrelevant. So, for example, you guys have heard me talk about this before, probably on previous podcasts or previous videos. And if you haven't, this will be the first time you're hearing the story. But essentially, I wrote myself a $100,000 check when I was still dead broke. I was still completely dead broke, fresh off of sleeping out of my father's sofa, fresh, basically getting back into my own my own housing situation, if you will. That's when I chose to write the $100,000 check, not when I had $100,000 in the bank already. Why? Why did I do that? Because I wanted to give myself something that was so powerful that it elicited a positive emotional response. I wanted to give my mind, my brain, my hopes, my desires, something to shoot for, right? So as we begin to plan through your vision board and choosing the illustrations and the pictures and the things of that nature to actually put this together, right? You want to do so in such a way that actually pulls it out of you, right? So spend time picking the right picture, all right? Now I'm going to show you how this works in a second, all right? All right, number 2, it must also create an internal motivation. If you choose an image that doesn't motivate you, then guess what? You're not going to be motivated. I know it sounds shocking, but the simple things really work. So as you begin to choose these different images, these different illustrations, these icons, if you will, these different ways of looking at things, you are going to have to consider seriously, does it actually motivate me? When I look at this, do I feel something? And do I want to do something? All right. All right. Number 3, it also must represent a minimum of 5 levels above where you are today. Why do I say that? If you create a vision board that you're going to be able to do in a week, then the vision board itself will not be effective. However, if you take the time to consider where you want to be 5 years from now or 3 years from now, and it's at least 5 levels above where you are, maybe in your financial life, maybe your relational life, or maybe your overall contribution or your career, right? You want to see a living illustration about what that looks like, and you want it to be 5 levels above you. That will keep you from making the dream way too big. It's to make it so intimidating you don't want to chase it, and way too small where you achieve things so easily, it's like, why try in the first place? Does that make sense? All right. So always make sure you represent a minimum of 5 levels above where you are today. All right. Now, I'm going to go ahead and just give you a quick reminder on the 8 pillars of life really fast, because I believe in creating a vision section for each of the 8 pillars. Now, if you are doing fantastic in 6 of the 8 pillars, great. Focus on the 2 that you're not. Now, if you are doing not so great in 6 of the 8 pillars, then make sure you take the time to follow through with each of the 8 pillars. What you don't want to do is not have a well-balanced life. All right. So here we go. Your vision board. All right. What we refer to as the foundational 4 of the 8 pillars are financial, emotional, physical, and spiritual. All right. What are your financial goals? All right. What are your financial outcomes? What do you want it to look like and feel like as you continue to move forward? All right. On your emotional level, how would it feel to actually have a sense of purpose, identity, and clarity, and be able to respond to people in a positive direction, right? Physical, what does your overall picture of health look like? Is it something you're able to do with ease, or is it something that you need to work for, right? For those of you who are in shape, maybe your goal might be something like running the extra mile. For those of you guys who are really struggling from a health perspective, maybe it's simply walking around your block, all right? But whatever that is, you want to create a living illustration of what those things will be, all right? The final one of the foundational 4 is the spiritual sector, okay? The reason we refer to these as the foundational 4 is because everything else in your life literally balances on top of these 4 pillars, okay? Your spiritual life is just as important as your financial life. If you don't believe me, ask all the millionaires that chose to jump out the window when they lost their money because their identity was tied to it. You have to have a level of faith and spirituality in such a way to help you actually breed resilience. All right. Okay. Next up are what we refer to as the structural 4. All right. Your overall plan for personal development. Okay. Your overall plan for professional development, your career, if you will, maybe even hobbies. All right. Relational. So what kind of mentors do you need? What kind of co-stars do you need? People that you can bounce ideas off of. All right. And then life impact. Okay. This is what we're going to break down. So we're going to break down the first 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I personally choose pictures to use for my personal vision board. Okay. And then I'm going to give you access to these PDFs, if you will, and you can begin to use them for yourself if you want to. Again, You don't have to follow my methodology exactly to the T to make this effective. What you do need to do is to be able to put these images, once you've chosen them, once these illustrations are chosen, into a place where you can then see them on a regular basis. I personally chose my mirror on my bathroom mirror, and then I also chose my refrigerator. Okay? Why? Because if the goal is in front of you, much like the $100,000 check that I originally wrote when I was dead broke, all right, it keeps you moving forward in such a way that when you feel like giving up, you don't. When you feel like giving in, you don't. When you feel like taking a break, you don't. Instead, what it does is it says, this is where I'm headed, and I'm not stopping till I get there. Okay? That is the power of a vision board. All right, so I'm going to break down this in just a second. I'm actually going to show you a couple different things. So first of all, I personally believe, now, in order for you to understand this, you need to understand that I have a story behind why I believe this. All right, let me tell you why. So first of all, I believe that you should be able to use all six senses. Yes, all six senses in order to create your vision board, your illustration, your icon, or anything that's going to create a piece of imagery for you to look at. What do I mean by that? I mean, you need to be able to find a picture that's easy, right? So sight is kind of an easy one. Does this picture represent what I think? Okay. When creating a vision board, you may be like, well, what does smell, touch, and hear, like hearing or listening or whatever, have to do with anything, or taste or emotional? Like, what does that have to do with anything? I can't do that with a picture. Yes, you can. What I would do is I would cut an image out or pick an image out of something that relates to a specific smell. So let's say that I'm traveling to Hawaii, which is my very first trip that changed my life. I barely got to Hawaii by the tip of my teeth. I was buying materials from a vendor of mine. They had a trip that I barely qualified for. Otherwise, I never would have went. I flew coach 14 hours straight. But when I got off the airplane and walked through the breezeway, and I smelled fresh pineapple for the first time, and I smelled orchids for the first time, and the radiance and the beauty that comes with combining the two together, it just did something. It did something powerful. It gave me hope that if I did this once, I could do it again, right? So let's say that we're looking at maybe the financial category. Maybe one of your financial goals is to take a nice trip to Hawaii. In that case, I would put a picture there that basically illustrated a piece of fresh cut pineapple or a piece of fresh cut coconut. Okay. The same thing with touch. Okay. What is something I would like to put my hands on once I got to that trip to Hawaii? Or what is something I'd like to be able to have in my fingertips? Okay. Now, I'll tell you early on, before I knew any better, I wanted to have a big wad of cash, right? So I found a picture of a big wad of cash. If I'm being completely honest and transparent, I haven't always sought the greater good. It took me a little while to get there. Okay. But that gives you an idea of some of these things. Okay. How about hear or hearing? All right. In this particular case, I might pick a picture of a special bird in Hawaii. Or one of my favorite things that happened while I was under the water, I went for snorkeling in Hawaii when I was there for the first time, and I went during whale season. And while I was snorkeling, all I heard was, I could literally hear all the whale sounds underwater and listening to whales talk and communicate. It was simply amazing. Okay. Taste. Maybe that's going to be a picture of a daiquiri or some kind of special drink. They actually have a drink in Hawaii called lava flow. Okay. Emotional. How am I going to feel in that moment? Right? What's an illustration of how I'm going to feel? Am I going to feel confident? Am I going to feel at peace? Am I going to feel at harmony? What am I doing? What am I feeling? Okay. So as you begin to go through all six senses, take the time to find the right illustration that illustrates the goal that we're talking about. All right. Now, give me one more second. I'm going to walk you through one more thing. All right. I'm going to go ahead and hit escape. We're going to end the PowerPoint program. I just put this over here to the side, and I'm going to give you exactly what I do here. All right. So one of the things that I did was I went here, and one of my I'm going to start just with the financial pillar. I'm going to start right here. Okay. And one of my personal financial goals is I want to be able to feed 1 million people. hopefully more than that. So what did I do? I went into Google, very quick search. I typed in feed 1 million people. Okay. And then I scrolled and I looked and I was like, which one makes sense for me? Which one would I like? Which one shows the beauty in my heart and then the willingness to help somebody else? Okay. And then what I did was I settled on a couple of photos. Okay. So I'm gonna go over to my other screen and I'm gonna pull a photo over here and I'm going to drop that in. Okay. Let me make this a little bigger so it's a little easier to see. Bear with me 1 second. All right. Now you can crop these photos. I'm doing this kind of quick to show you, but this goes into my feeling category. Okay. Now, if I was to print this off, you would find out that this document that I'm putting these pictures on is not 3 inches tall. Instead, it's closer to something that would be like the equivalent of a small mirror. Okay. Why? Because I hang stuff beside my mirror or on my mirror, depending on what it is. Okay. So that's got me wanting to feed the hungry. All right. Now let's go ahead and go to my professional goals for a second. Okay. One of my professional personal development goals is I would like to have the opportunity to share my heart at scale. Okay. Look at that. Now, I have yet to speak for an audience of 10,000 or more. My largest audience to date has been just a couple thousand people. Okay. I'm convinced that my heart is uniquely set up to help people from a sincere place. Okay. I'm not craving the stage per se. I'm craving the impact. Okay. So that's an illustration. If I blew that picture up, what you're going to see is this massive stadium presence. Okay. Maybe that'll become Transform You Live one day. Maybe it won't. Probably won't, because I like to keep Transform You nice and tight knit so I can spend some time with everybody. But you get the point. Okay. The point is to find the pictures that best represent your 5 senses of what that goal looks like accomplished. Does that make sense? All right. So now we're going to go back to my financial pillar. And I'm going to pull our friend Google up. Give me 1 second. I think I'm going to pull Google up. Let's see here. Let's give me 1 second. Almost there. All right. Come on, Mr. Google. Let's go here. All right. I want to type in reverse tither. Okay. Now, my financial goals will be very different than many of your financial goals, right? Why? Because I'm in a different season of life. I've been doing the things that I've been sharing with you for months on YouTube and through podcasts and stuff for months. And as a result, I have the fruit of that labor. Okay. So as I begin to pull things up and apply them to my vision board specifically, I don't want you to downplay your effort or your potential or something that you're working on. Okay. Now let's look at this for a second, because I do want to be what's known as a reverse tither. What is a reverse tither? Okay. Traditional tithing is when you give 10% of your earning or net or gross. Okay. And some people can use net or gross to a church or to an organization you want to give to. And then you keep 90% of that money for yourself. Okay. Reverse tithing is when you actually give away 90% of your resources to a worthy cause or endeavor, and you only keep and live off of 10%. Okay. That's one of the things that I'm hoping to do. Okay. For me. So I'm going to go and look at the images, and I'm going to scroll. I'm going to do something really quick and see if I can find anything that is an illustration of that. Okay. Don't really see much. A lot of text stuff in here. So let's try a different search. All right. Let's do give a lot of money away. And before you start blowing up my comment box about maybe wanting to give you lots, or me giving you lots of money, I'm going to teach you how to earn money before I ever give any. Why? Because that works. That works. Secondly, I'll make sure the money's given to a foundation so I can actually make sure the money is getting to the place that it needs to get to help the right people. Okay? I do not believe in giving out handouts. I believe in teaching, and I believe in helping organizations who are already doing great work become more successful. Plus, I'm not quite at the 90% level yet. I'm not quite at the financial level where I can give away 90% of the income. Okay? This one looks pretty good. So we're just going to swipe it from Google. We're not publishing it anywhere. So it's strictly for my benefit. So we're going to say reverse tithing. And I'm going to spell it wrong because I'm dyslexic, which some of you guys know that already. All right, I'm going to move this over here. Okay. I think I'm going to move it. There it is. It's like, come on, Greenie, where'd you go? All right. Okay. Now, I will admit my financial goals, it's going to be a little more difficult to smell money. I've smelt money before. It has its own unique odor. Instead, I might do something along the lines of what it would be like to actually give money away to an organization like a foster care system or something like that, that allows them to get updated furniture that doesn't smell like old and musty. Okay, so that might be a situation where I might choose a picture that illustrates giving enough resources away to actually take care of an environment's needs, so to speak. Okay, does that make sense? All right. We'll look at the emotional one here just for one example. I think you're starting to get the hang of this, okay? But for the meantime, let's do the emotional one, okay? I want to feel confident. So I'm going to type into Google confident. All right, Google confident, images. There we go. All right. So just to be completely honest with you guys, that's kind of a cheesy photo, but you get the idea, right? The idea is to find some representation of where things are finished, right? You're 5 years, you're 5 levels above where you are today. You want to completely illustrate what it looks like finished. Okay. Now, you don't have to fill in all 6 senses. Those are there to help basically outline ideas to help you get pictures that make the most sense. Okay. You may also decide to do what's known as affirmations. Okay. So let me go back into here real fast. I'm going to get our text box. I'm going to draw that in here for a second. I'm going to change the words to white so we can actually see them. All right. But you might put, whoop, it's beeping in my ears, probably beeping in your ear. I am worthy. I am loved. I am worth it, or actually worth the effort, because you're definitely worth the effort. Okay. Let me fix that spelling mistake before it gets past me. Okay. I am intelligent. Unless you spell like me. No, I'm just kidding. I'm intelligent. I just can't spell with a flip. All right. You get the point? Now, once this is done, you would print this out or take it to a printer at Kinko's or something like this. Again, if I was to print this out, this would be massive. This would be literally 4 foot by 3 foot tall. Okay. So these pictures would be very big. You can also get, I know this is going to sound silly, but you can also get some scratch and sniff stuff, right? If there's a specific smell on an air freshener or something along those lines, you can actually paste that to your board. Okay. If you wanted to come in here and put that $100,000 check or whatever it is in here, okay, you could actually physically write the check, void it if you want, or just post it there. Okay. But don't sign it. At least not fully. The last thing you want to do is have somebody go take your check off your refrigerator and try to cash it, especially when you don't have the money for it, right? But here's what happened. It took me almost 5.5, almost 6 years, but I eventually cashed that check because I had to look at it every single day. 365, 365, 365, 365, 365. And I can tell you so many times I wanted to quit, I wanted to give up, and I didn't want to keep moving forward. Okay. That is the power of a vision board. It forces you to keep going when you don't want to. Why is that important? Because most of us live our entire lives inside of a comfort box. Unfortunately, everything in life that we truly want is outside of the comfort box. So what we want to do is give us conscious reminders, physical reminders, visual reminders that hold us accountable to the promises we make to ourselves. Okay. Now let's do a quick rundown really fast. I'm going to hit these really, really fast, just so we're clear. Remember, principle number 1, the picture you choose, the image you choose must elicit a powerful, positive emotion, right? Keep searching till all of a sudden it makes you smile or it makes you feel inspired. You see what I'm saying? Make sure you do that, okay? Secondly, it must create an internal motivation. In other words, when I look at this, it's going to make me keep going. Like I gave you with the Czech example or with the Hawaii example, okay? See, I didn't actually take the time to come up with the Hawaii example until I went to Hawaii. And then I understood that there are places in this world that I wanted to go and experience. So I began to change my vision board, okay? That's how powerful motivation is. Remember, number 3, finally, it must represent a minimum of 5 levels above where you are today. 5 levels above where you are today. If you'll do these things and you'll do them well and with consistency, and you'll take the time to actually pull up your own vision board, and again, I'll make sure we link these PDFs in the description below the video, so you at least have a template. Again, it doesn't have to look like mine. It doesn't have to, okay? Now, I'm going to recommend that you start with a foundational 4. And once you do that, then go on to the other ones, all right? And again, then you start laying out the other ones: personal development, professional, relational, and life impact, okay? That is my stance on creating a vision board. It doesn't have to be complicated. It does have to be clear. It does have to be concise. It does have to elicit a powerful emotion. It does have to create motivation, okay? And it does have to be 5 levels above where you are today. And if you'll do those things, right? If you'll do those things consistently and put these where you have to look at them every single day, I promise you, you will go further, faster, and with a whole lot less effort than you ever thought possible.
Now, if you want to show us your vision board and connect, I'd like to take that to a whole nother level. If you want to, take a picture of your vision board and email it to us at myvision@journeyprinciples.com. And as a result, I'll pull a handful of people in and do some one-on-one coaching on your vision and how you can actually make that a reality. In the meantime, check out this new ebook that I just released called 5 Principles for a Personal Breakthrough. That will help you begin to win at life. Until then, I'll see you in the next video.